Hi Year 10s, welcome back. Today we are doing solving quadratic equations by completing the square. Now in a previous lesson we did completing the square as an expression. This time the difference is it's an equation, which means the other side is equal to 0. So what we need to do is factorise by completing the square, and then we use the null factor law. Hopefully you remember what that is. That's when you've got two brackets and the other side equals 0, and then you get two answers. You solve each of them separately. So copy down the notes please. Oh, good. Good job, everyone. Now, before we start, remember this from DOPS. If you've got something like x squared plus 5, you cannot solve it because this is a positive. It must be a negative to be able to solve it. Same as this one, x minus 1 all squared plus 7. To be able to solve it, you need to have that as a negative. So x minus 1 squared minus 7. And if you remember DOPS, then that would be x minus 1 plus root 7 and x minus 1 minus root 7. So you can solve it only if it's a negative there. So don't be fooled by that. Excellent. And there's our little rule. Okay, so that's it for the theory for this lesson. I just need to explain how to do them. So I'm going to do a few examples. So the first one, solve x squared plus 4x plus 2 equals 0. So if you remember completing the square, we go x squared plus 4x. Now to find this third number, to make that a perfect square, remember we look at the middle number, it's 4, we halve it, which is 2, and then square it. 2 squared is 4. So we go plus 4. Because we've added 4, we must now take away 4 as well to make it a balanced equation. And don't forget the plus 2 there. We've got the plus 2 and equals 0. I like to leave a little gap because then I know that this bit here is our perfect square. So if I do that, that becomes x plus 2 all squared. And then if I add these two up together, minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2 equals 0. Now we've got it in the form of something squared minus something squared. If you want to put the step in, you can change that to root 2 squared. And then DOPS is easy. I'm just going to leave it. Hopefully by now you know how to do it. So now we use the null factor law. So it's x plus 2 plus root 2. And the other bracket is x plus 2 minus root 2, and that equals 0. And it doesn't matter which one's plus or minus, I just always do it in that order, but that's fine. But note, it's x plus 2 and x plus 2. It's that bracket. Some people like to put a negative in one of them. Don't. It's that plus root 2, that minus root 2. Excellent. Now we've got our two brackets multiplied together equals 0, we can use the null factor law. So each of these brackets separately equals 0. So I'm going to write it out separately. X plus 2 plus root 2 is equal to 0, and this bracket, x plus 2 minus root 2 is equal to 0. All I've done is let each bracket equal 0. Now I'm going to get both of those to the other side, and I get x equals negative 2 minus root 2, and this one is x equals negative 2 plus root 2, because I've got both of them to the other side. And there's our answer. We've got two different solutions. This is called exact form, because we've left that as surds. And if it said round to 2 decimal places, you put that into your calculator. There is another way. If you wanted to simplify it, you can just say x equals minus 2, and you can say plus or minus root 2, because that means there's a plus solution, and then you also do it as a negative solution. So if you wanted to write it like that, that's fine. Good job. Let's do another one up here. So the best way to practice is just do a few more. So in case you can't read it, it's x squared plus 6x minus 11 equals 0. So same process. X squared plus 6x. You'll get good at this once you practice. Half 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. So you're plus 9, but because you added 9, you must take away 9, and we've got minus 11 there, and it equals 0. So perfect square, x plus 3 all squared, and that's minus 20 equals 0. Use the null factor law. We've got x plus 3 plus root 20, and we've got x plus 3 minus root 20, and that equals 0. And now we use the null factor law again, so we go x plus 3 plus root 20 equals 0, and the other one is x plus 3 minus root 20 equals 0, and we solve each of them separately. So we get x equals negative 3 negative root 20, and the other one is x equals negative 3 plus root 20. Now you notice something about root 20, that can be simplified. It's a surd, but it's not in simplest form. So if you remember, I'll just do it here, root 20 is the same as 4 times 5, so that would mean it's 2 root 5. So we can simplify root 20 as 2 root 5. So, and I'm going to put both solutions, as I just showed you, negative 3, and it's plus or minus root 20. So I'll do it like that, plus or minus 2 root 5. So if it said simplify your answer, you should simplify the surd. And there's our answer, everyone. Great job. Alright, let's do another one. So, x squared plus 2x plus 10 equals 0. So, we've got x squared plus 2x. How do we find that third term? Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. So plus 1, we minus 1, and we've also got a plus 10. So this is a perfect square. It's x plus 1 all squared. And here we've got minus 1 plus 10 is plus 9 equals 0. Now if you're not thinking, you're going to start going x plus 1 plus 3, x plus 1 minus 3. But what do we notice? That is a positive. So what does that mean, everyone? It means this cannot be solved. So what you do is you stop there and you write down cannot be solved. So in other words, there are no solutions to this for the value of x. There's no solutions because that is a positive there. Excellent. Good job. I'm glad you didn't get tricked there. Okay, now that's it for those questions. Now let's do a word question. A rectangle has a length 3 centimetres more than its width. If its area is 20 centimetres squared, find the dimensions of the rectangle. Okay, so worded questions. First thing you should do is probably draw a picture. So let's draw a little rectangle. And it says there the length is 3 centimetres more than the width. So let's call the width x, and we'll call the length x plus 3. So of course you should define the variables. Let x equal the width, just so we don't get confused about what we're finding. Okay, so how do I find the area of a rectangle? It's length times width. So I'm just going to go x times x plus 3, and the whole area is equal to 20. So there's my equation. There's the width times the length, multiply them together, and it equals the area which is given, which is 20. Alright, so now we just have to expand. So expand the brackets, so we get x squared plus 3x equals 20. But you can't do anything because 20 is on the other side. You need that to be equal to 0. So we need to bring that to the other side. X squared plus 3x minus 20 equals 0. Now we can work it out using completing the square. However, this number here in the middle is an odd number, so we might just leave that one for now. So all we're going to do in this exercise are questions with even numbers in the middle. So if that was an even number, you'd go through the same process and you'd end up getting 2 answers for x. If just say you've got a negative number and a positive number, at the end you'd say x is only the positive number because the length cannot be negative. So once you've found the answer, and then the length would be x plus 3. But I'm going to stop for that one because it's an odd number in the middle. Alright, so the last bit, do the homework please, exercise 5H, page 394, 1 to 7, 8 to 10. This was actually question 8 from the textbook, so maybe don't do that one. So remember, in the exercise, only do the ones with even numbers in the middle. Good job everyone, smash that like button.